everybody. Welcome to the Tiger Talk podcast. This is the show being recorded on Sunday, 10/14/18. We'll get right to the items in the news. Why don't you take the first one, Mr. Blade?
Holy Cross homecoming was this weekend as the Tiger varsity football faced off against Brother Martin. The Tigers defeated Brother Martin with a score of 7-3. Way to go, Tigers.
Congratulations, guys. Good job. It was also homecoming week when they played Brother Martin, so we wanted to say that Miss Alexis Marie Saravola was the returning 2017 homecoming queen, and she was escorted by our own Holy Cross Tiger, Thunder. Good job, Thunder. She was the one to crown the new 2018 homecoming queen. And our 2018 homecoming queen is Miss Abigail Elizabeth Strohmeyer. She was escorted by her father, Raymond Strohmeyer, Holy Cross class of '86. Abigail is a senior at Mount Carmel Academy and is in her third year. She's a member of the Holy Cross cheerleading team. Congratulations on her and all the ladies of the court. Wonderful time. Why don't you take the next one, Mr. Blade?
Garrett Lonsberry,
Yep.
named National Merit Commended Student. Holy Cross School announced that senior Garrett Lonsberry has been named a commended student in the 2019 National Merit Scholarship Program. A letter of commendation will be presented to him in recognition of his accomplishment. Commended students placed among the top 50,000 scorers of more than 1.6 million students who took the 2017 PSAT/NMSQT. We are proud of Garrett and his outstanding academic performance. Congratulations.
Definitely. Good job. We have a new guest visiting this week with Tiger Talk. Actually, our new guest will be here for the next 8 weeks. The Schneider clan is participating in the Catholic Bonding Program. That's at www.catholicbonding.org. In this program, students from Latin America, ages 10 to 15, have the opportunity to live with a family and attend the Catholic private school for 2 months. The exchange and host students will be matched by age, gender, and interests. From mid-October through mid-December, host families will have a student stay with them and be part of their family. We are very pleased to have Andrea staying with us and know it'll be a fantastic 8 weeks. Anyone interested in this program should contact us and would be happy to share our experiences through email or any details. Right, Mr. Blade?
Yeah.
We hope to get Mr. Andreas on the program in the future, but he just got here. We're not going to make him jump into the camera quite yet.
He got here Friday,
Yeah.
like 2 days ago. I'm not sure he's ready to be on camera yet.
I'm not sure I'm ready to be on camera yet. What's the next one?
This week we have another interview that I think you will love. We had the chance to sit down with the deans of the primary, middle, and high school to learn about them and their commitment to Holy Cross. Enjoy!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tiger Talk. Got a good interview for you today. I am sitting down with the deans of the high school, middle school, and primary. I have everybody in the same room at the same time. I'm not sure if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, but I think we're going to have a good time. How you doing, gentlemen? Thank you for taking your time.
Thank you.
I warned you already that I was going to start y'all with a easy warm up, and this is pretty easy. I got a couple of questions for you because everybody likes to get to know everybody a little. And the first thing I'm going to hit you with is, we'll start over here. What's the last book that you've read for pleasure?
It is Derek Jeter, The Captain. I read it from cover to cover. Took me a while, but I did it.
I haven't read that one, but that one sounds good. I like Jeter.
I got The Origin by Dan Brown in progress right now. But before that, I think it was The Energy Bus by John Gordon.
Mine was Leadership of Attila the Hun.
Now that's one I think I have to read.
Leadership.
Folks, if you notice, the primary dean just said Leadership by Attila the Hun. Okay. Secondly, start back on this side. On your way to work today, what were you listening to in the car?
Whatever the 15-year-old daughter wanted to listen to, so some pop hits baloney that I really don't know.
I believe that completely.
Right.
I listen to my mother. I talk to my mom every day. on the way to work.
Oh, that's nice.
That's so sweet.
That's nice.
How are you going to follow that one up?
Sirius Radio, we'll listen to some fantasy football or 80s and 90s greatest hits, whatever's playing that's pretty good.
Mr. Ferry got me stuck on that 104.1
Oh,
channel
okay.
now.
Gotcha.
After talking with him.
Gotcha.
So, well, it's just a little something to start us out with, but thank y'all so much.
Right.
The big thing I wanted to talk with everybody with, nothing formal, but you all have to work together and individually because your jobs are, to make a point, it's the same and different with the age groups and the personalities and everybody you deal with. So I just thought it would be nice for everybody to hear from y'all what it is you do or what y'all try to accomplish in your individual roles. I had specifically said that we at Tiger Talk hadn't paid nearly as much attention to the primary as we really wanted to, and we wanted to make sure that we rectified that because this is a family. It's everybody all at once, and I think it's important that we cover all bases. So who wants to start?
I will, since I started the little guys, right? The little guys are coming in 4 years old, and that's what we have to remember. Little Rory will be there in a couple of years. Little Rylan will be there next year, right? The sons of these two guys. So very important job. Initially at 4 years old, they need to be able to cooperate, get along, share, play well, listen to very basic one-step, maybe two-step instructions. And that leads into how do we pay attention for a little bit? How do we give our 15 minutes of attention to the teacher in front of the class, which leads to then just building blocks from there. And then by the time they get to fourth grade, they're expected to be able to listen, to control themselves, to understand that, there are ways to interact with other students. When I'm teaching them right now to reflect before they react, take a second to think about how they're feeling and then the appropriate reaction after that. So it's really important just getting to that point before I pass it along to Ronnie. The importance for me, I've got two daughters, and so one of them's coming to the homecoming dance next weekend. And so the importance for the older guys here is just understanding that, behaving yourself as a young Christian gentleman influences not just the boys here, but the greater community, especially for those of us who have daughters.
Well, that's excellent, and kind of exactly what I was going to follow up with a question with is, how do you start that process of becoming a Holy Cross man with someone at that age?
Right.
I myself didn't come until high school to Holy Cross. My father came in 7th. My son has come in 5th, but you're going all the way back, and that's definitely a question I know some people have, that how do you begin to build that esprit de corps for Holy Cross at that age?
Great question. So every morning we start prayer, pledge, recitation of the Holy Cross Man, singing the fight song or alma mater, right? And so they're getting indoctrinated to the Holy Cross family very quickly. The other thing that we've done, a lot of the faculty and staff over there have a Holy Cross connection. Fathers, brothers, husbands, somebody in their family who's come to Holy Cross. And so it's a really neat mixture of the faculty who we have over there believing in Holy Cross. I think that makes a huge difference also.
Yeah, they kind of learn by what they see at that age.
And what they've known throughout their lives growing up, for sure.
Well, I'm going to skip you over in the middle since we're kind of going by age range.
Right. As far as me, when the guys get to me, I try to concentrate on 3 different things before I turn them over to the high school. I want them to be responsible, I want them to be accountable, and I want them to respect others. A lot of times, especially when new guys show up, whether it's in 5th, 6th, or 7th grade, a lot is asked of them, especially early on, and whether it be about their rotating schedule, going to a locker for the first time, what books to bring, and showing up on time. And a lot of it is making sure that they're organized and responsible for their, everything from their books, their uniform, to how they present themselves in class, being accountable, being on time. And then more importantly, even nowadays, is to make sure that they respect one another. It goes back to the golden rule of when my grandfather would tell me, you treat others how you want to be treated. And, we try to instill that into the guys every day, some way, somehow, some lesson is learned. Are they going to step out of line? Absolutely. Are they going to do wrong? Yes, they will. So long as it's not repetitive and they learn their lessons going forward. This is my 10th year of doing this. And so, you start understanding your role, the small role that I play at this school when you start seeing these guys 5 and 6 years from now graduate with a diploma, and then even further than that, coming back, whether it's for an alumni function or even a reunion, and they remember things you said. Or, they figure it out, because there's a lot of times where guys that are in that age area of 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, where you start scratching your head going, okay, when's that light bulb going to go off? And that's my goal, is to make sure that it does go off eventually. And, there's some stories that I could probably tell you of individuals here that when they were in 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, they might have been paying rent in my office. And that's one thing. But on the flip side, they turn into honor graduates, they turn into great men, and, eventually, hopefully fathers and beyond,
And I think we're in a pretty spectacular time right now. Mr. DeSormo and I had talked a few weeks ago when we sat down that we're in such a unique period, because very soon we're going to be able to follow these guys from when you have them in kindergarten or earlier all the way through and see the men truly grow from children. I mean, and in the truest sense of the word, all the way through to productive adults, and that's got to be a wonderful, positive feeling that you get to move through. And meaning, y'all have the ability, you're passing people on, so you get to say, hey, this is the batch coming to you, and can kind of outline what's happening as you move forward.
Absolutely.
You two get the joy of puberty. I know that's.
Oh, look, it's a funny age sometimes. Whether it's 7th grade or 8th grade, and unfortunately nowadays with social media, kids tend to grow up or have to grow up a little bit quicker than they need to be, and you run into some obstacles, but you want to make sure that they're well aware of what they're doing, and that goes back to being responsible and accountable for what they do. We're in a unique place where you go to a campus that has somebody like Brian running it, and I'm anxious to see when my little guy shows up there. And I expect him to understand everything that we're teaching, and even if he gets to me, and then furthermore to Phil in the high school, I want them to be every bit of a Holy Cross man as we promote ourselves to be. And that's something that because like I said, with these two guys, the thing that's cool about all three of us is that we were fast friends from jump, even before we got into these spots, and now we work together even closer and having to deal with kids day in and day out, and it makes for an even better relationship, but then it gives us probably a lot more positive feedback for one another, for that kid to transition from one to the next.
That communication is invaluable.
Absolutely.
And I also think that the three of y'all, so much happens behind the scenes. There's so many movements going on. But for the kids and the kids' parents, you want it to be seamless, that they barely feel the difference as the change happens and moves on. That's what makes it such a productive experience for them.
And that's actually one of the things that I think we have a leg up on everybody, is that us three are real good friends, and before I came into this position, being my first year as the high school dean, like I said, we were talking about it before we got on camera, the Disney trip with the senior trip. That was one thing that we did, I think, all together my first year here 9 years ago. And, it's just one of those things where we kind of hit it off, and we share a lot of the same ideology and a lot of the same beliefs and core values. So, like we were just saying, I think it's going to be awesome to see those pre-K guys coming through, not Brian's system, but coming from Brian over to Ronnie and through me, being that we're on the same page with a lot of things. I think that transition will be seamless.
Well, and the big difference for your position is you're the one of the three that's preparing them for a different situation outside, where they're not continuing on in the Holy Cross system,
right,
as it were. They're going in all different directions, and that leads a kind of a special step in it itself.
Yeah, so I think today's the first day of week 9 of school, and I think it's hilarious. I was talking with somebody over the weekend. It's like high school is a midlife crisis for kids. It's the first, it really is. you start out with the ninth graders that are, going through changes physically and emotionally. A lot of times parents, that's when they draw the line. From 8th to 9th grade, they say, look, I'm going to back off a little bit and let you do your own thing. And they kind of fall on their face sometimes. And then you start getting into sophomore, junior year where they're starting to drive and they're starting to, go to different events on their own, applying for colleges. And then you get the seniors that are pretty much got one foot out the door already. And, trying to figure out where life's taking them, whether it be, halfway across the country to go to school, or if they're staying in state. Or even if they're staying, in the New Orleans area and attending school locally, you're getting all different facets within that little 4-year range. And I think that's one of the things that makes this job fun is no 2 days are the same, right? And then from one meeting with a student to the next, there's no telling. It could be, opposite ends of the spectrum. But it is unique. I enjoy it. I don't like to come across as the guy that takes, the real hard line and all I do is hand out discipline. At the end of the day, my job is to make sure that these guys are walking out as Holy Cross men and can represent the institution that I grew up at, and that I lived at from 1998 all the way through now. That's my biggest job, and I keep that in the back of my mind when I get the kid who just got sent out of class for doing something he wasn't supposed to, or it's the kid that just drops by and says, hey, coach, I got a lot on my mind. I need to sit down and talk with somebody. So I think I put my first priority being an advocate for the kids, obviously, and keeping their best interest in mind. It's a very, very unique position. Last year when Mr. DeZormo approached me and asked me about taking it, had no idea what I was getting into. And I think if I could have wrote it down in a book what I thought it was going to be, it was something completely different. And, it's not a bad thing. I truly do enjoy every day on the job. Like I said, kind of having these two guys to bounce feedback off of and, having close friends that can tell you, hey, look, I don't think this is a good idea, or, hey, I'm with you 100%. Definitely makes it a lot easier.
All of that is fantastic. And I agree with a lot of what you were saying is, let's face it, education is wonderful, and we know the information they're getting, and Holy Cross gives a fantastic education. But one of the things that we definitely see is we're preparing them to move on in life. Right. And to me, that's such an important part. Look, my son's been here 3 years, and I'm still working on getting the schedule right. But I look back and think, when I first got to college, Holy Cross obviously was doing a different scheduling back then, so it was a complete shock and turmoil for me. Where the kids who are moving on now, this has got to be like butter. It's a slide. They understand it completely, and that's one less little piece of stress on them to deal with. Understanding a lot of these things make everything that much easier as they move forward.
Yeah, I think part of it is not just management of their stuff, of their time, especially management of their emotions, and that's where I know Ronnie and Phil and I. We help them manage those emotions, that reflection before they think. But emotionally, they really want to be independent, and they don't want mom to be there or dad to be there when they reach these certain milestones, whether it's from first grade to second grade, or whether it's from fourth grade to fifth grade, or seventh grade to eighth grade, any of these big jumps. Because, in my situation, the little guys want their independence. They don't want their parents there, yet they still enjoy the sandwich cut in dinosaur shape. It's hard to. You have those emotions that are going on where they want their independence, yet they still want mom to be there.
Right.
And so when they get to high school, they want the discipline and they want the structure, but they're never going to tell you that. And so it's dealing with a lot of psychology and emotions behind it.
Well, that's actually a good place to ask y'all one more question as we get ready to wrap up, and that's, for each of you, what little piece of advice would you pass on for kids and their parents as we look at? There's a lot of things that go on, but there's always something that I know that y'all strive to get across.
Mine is real simple, is that, the investment from the parent's side needs to be met with our return. Our return is to allow them to give their best, and if they stumble, what better place to stumble, to fall back, to fall down, and to pick yourself up than at a great loving place like Holy Cross, because the parents are paying money for us to watch their sons, to make sure that they know how to pick themselves up, and if they need help picking themselves up, that's why we're here. And so those very safe stumbling blocks along the way, those setbacks, it's okay. That's the process. And so that's my advice to both students and parents, is that it's okay to fall down once in a while. We have to see that they can pick themselves up.
Keep leaving you to last.
Right.
go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Mine would be probably to convey to parents that even though we have to play bad cop a lot of times, our worry about their kids is just like they would worry about them. We treat them like they're our own. We'll be the first one to pat them on the back when things are good and pick them up when things aren't going well, but we'll be the first one to put a foot to them when they have to have it. My genuine concern is I want to make sure that all of those guys, if we tell it to them enough, lessons day in and day out, I worry that I want to make sure that when they leave our gates each day, or they go somewhere on the weekend, whether it's a parade or a fair or something, that they know right from wrong, and that they're there capable enough to make the right decision to, do the right thing. And, sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle. And I understand that completely when it comes to, parents worrying about their sons. And they have to understand that we're going to do just as good a job, or try to do just as good a job as they would with their kid. And our care for them and our worry for them each day is, it's part of the job, but we try to make sure that we're going to turn out as many great kids as we humanly possibly can, and more importantly, have them strive to be the best that they can be. And like I said, it's a both sides of the fence kind of job. But that's why I enjoy it, because like I said, at the end of the day, if I can get a kid to go the right way, or when that situation occurs, to make that right decision and to do things the correct way, like a Holy Cross man should, then we win. And that's a good thing.
Not that they've taken such great answers and left you on the spot.
Yeah, right. No, I'm going to plagiarize a little bit. No, my advice to both parents and kids is just to buy in. We come from a coaching background, myself and Ronnie with baseball and Brian with soccer, and that's one thing that we would ask of our athletes specifically, was to buy into what we're trying to do as a team, as a coach, what our program is about. Well, that's my same advice to parents and students that are going to come to school here. Buy in. You don't have to be around here very long to figure out that this is an exciting time to be at Holy Cross. Get involved, and when you do, truthfully buy in. The kids, whatever you're doing, buy into that program. Don't just kind of wing it or just show up just to be there. Make sure you buy in. If you're going to join a club, get all in, and then as a parent, fully support your kid. Even if if your kid wanted to join a reading club where they read books 2 days a week after school, even if you're not a big fan of it, buy in and support them. Because at the root of all this, I think the kids really, really, really are striving for support, right? They're looking for that acceptance. They're looking for that backup and kind of that extra hand on their back, kind of pushing them along the way and saying, hey, I've got you. In all facets of our school, I think that's the one thing I can probably narrow it down to, is just buy in. Obviously, parents trust us. If you're going to, fork out the financial burden to send your kid here and trust us with him, well, do that. Trust us. Buy into what we're doing. Let your kids get involved, and when they do, make sure you're there to support them. We, pull in the same direction. I think as a kid, there's no greater gift that you can receive other than your parents supporting you through everything that you do. And if that starts with school, so be it.
Very well said. If I could sum up the three of y'all after talking with y'all and knowing the things that you do, I think the best thing to say would be shepherds. In the best sense of the biblical word, you're there to help guide them along the path. Whether it be good or bad, you're going to deal with both sides of that coin sometimes, but just keeping them in between those lines and herding them towards that ultimate goal. And that's a wonderful thing in and of itself. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to be with me. And we will get this going and hope to have many more great conversations with y'all in the future. Thank y'all very much. And remember, we are HC.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to all three gentlemen for sitting down with us. It was a great interview. It was a lot of fun, and hope we get to do that again in the near future. Mr. Blade, why don't you tell us some of our upcoming events?
October 15th, which is Monday, the student holiday. Also on October 15th, Holy Cross Golf Tournament at Bayou Oaks Golf Course at City Park. It's because the brothers have to come to school and evaluate its performance. I think that's the gist.
Well, October 21st is next weekend is Family Day. We will be out there. We'll have our tent and our screens and videos, and we'll be doing all kinds of stuff. It'd be a whole lot of fun to see. October, I got that one out of place because I missed October 16th is sixth grade parent breakfast, 7 a.m. to 7:45 in the cafeteria. That was fun. You and I did that last year.
Everything's all out of order.
Yeah. October 17th, what is on October 17th is Evening with Moreau, prayer and reflection service. That's from 6 to 7 in the testing room. Middle school basketball parents meeting. Sorry, I'm jumping in this since I'm the one who put them out of order. It's 6 to 6:45. What's the next one?
New parent social hosted by HCPAC from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the headmaster's conference room and balcony. On October 18th, Feast of St. Luke liturgy from 9:10 a.m. to 10:20 a.m. at the Holy Cross Student Center.
And what's that mean?
Tie Day!
Tie Day!
Bring your tie!
That's right. October 19th, Friday, Holy Cross football varsity is playing against John Curtis. That'll be at 7 p.m. That's at Mus Bertolino Stadium. October 20th, on Saturday, Tiger Band will be in Morgan City Marching Festival, 8 to 2:30. If you're in that area, that'd be good. And now we're back to what?
Sunday. Holy Cross Family Day, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And there was a event up earlier that was on Sunday. Was that Family Day too?
That was Family Day too. Family Day was so important, we put it twice.
Yes, we put it twice. And instead of putting it twice, messed up the whole order of the events.
Hey, you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. All right, this week in history, you want to take the first one?
In 1582, the Gregorian calendar is adopted in Italy, France, Spain, and Portugal.
In 1793, Queen Marie Antoinette is beheaded by guillotine during the French Revolution.
And no. In 1867, the Alaska Territory is formally transferred to the U.S. from Russian control. And that same year, on that same week, the rules for American football are formulated at a meeting in New York.
There you go. So all you football fans, that's when the rules started. In 1878, Thomas Edison founds the Edison Electric Company. I'll take this one. Okay. 1781, General Cornwallis surrenders to George Washington and Count de Rochambeau at Yorktown, Virginia. This action effectively ends the Revolutionary War. So, a little something to throw at your history teachers there this week, guys. This is a good one. What's the next one?
In 1940, Ernest Hemingway's novel For Whom the Bell Tolls is published.
Good book. Very good book. In 1989, Canadian hockey player Wayne Gretzky makes his 1,851st goal. Try to say that 3 times fast.
Yeah.
Breaking the all-time scoring record in the NHL. I know Thunder's a hockey fan, so.
Golf clap.
That's right. And you want to take the last one?
2003, Mother Teresa is
beatified
by Pope John Paul II for her work among the poorest of the poor in India.
We won't have to say congratulations. I don't think that's how that works.
Do we say congratulations?
No. A piece of Holy Cross history. As you know, we've been doing a little bit each week as we move forward in time. On June 20th, 1890, the General Assembly of the state of Louisiana chartered the institution, empowering it to confer bachelor's and master's degree. That's when the school was a college as well. In 1895, the original administration building was erected for $15,000, and at the suggestion of the Archbishop Francis Jansen's, St. Isidore's College was renamed and solemnly dedicated Holy Cross College. So there you go. You want to know when it turned from St. Isidore's to Holy Cross? That's when. Expansion of the facility soon became imperative, and in 1912, 2 wings were added to the main building, and a gymnasium was built to accommodate the steady increase of students. At approximately the same time, Though chartered as a college, the school became a secondary institution, confining itself to activities on this level. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, pretty cool.
Why don't you go ahead and close us out for the week, Mr. Blade?
Remember to visit our website at www.tigertalk.us or visit our Facebook page at Tiger Talk or visit our Twitter page at HC Tiger Talk or leave us a review on iTunes or email us at hctigertalk@gmail.com or visit our store at www.cafepress.com/tigertalkpodcast.
And one more thing, subscribe to us on YouTube. I don't know if I had that one up there.
No, you didn't.
Gotta add that one. And make sure you subscribe to the show and all the other great places we are. And remember, we are HC.